weathered and worn, but with unlimited potential. Today on Truck Tech, we take delivery of our latest project, Low and Slow. Let's find out what's in store for this old Chevy C10. Hey, welcome to Truck Tech. As you can see, we're outside the shop today and we've got a good surprise waiting for us. One of the golden rules in the automotive world is to never purchase a vehicle without seeing it in person first. But today, we have done exactly that. We have a new project truck that just showed up, and this is the first time we're seeing it in person. Man, I think we lucked out so far. Yeah, let's see. She's looking good. As you can see, this is a classic Chevrolet C10. It has a beautiful, original, authentic patina that really tells the story of its life. All those years sitting under the sun have given this truck a unique, one-of-a-kind look. You know, most kids today probably wouldn't even know how to drive a truck like this. It's simple, raw, and completely mechanical, just the way trucks used to be. Right now it has a small block engine under the hood. We're not exactly sure what engine it originally came with, but it was likely one of the classic Chevrolet small block engines. We'll get this truck inside the shop and take a closer look. Right off the bat, it's fairly obvious that this truck wasn't just pulled out of a field somewhere. Along the way, somebody has done a few upgrades and repairs to keep it running and driving. One of the first giveaways is the fuel tank. On trucks from this era, the fuel tank was originally mounted behind the driver's seat. In fact, ours is still there, but it's probably full of rust by now. So it looks like someone installed an aftermarket fuel tank behind the rear axle instead. Another cool feature of this truck is the rear suspension. It uses a trailing arm style suspension setup. This design actually has a lot of performance potential. In fact, a similar style suspension was used in NASCAR racing in the past. One other thing you may have noticed is that this truck sits a little lower to the ground than a stock one normally would. It looks like the previous owner heated up the coil springs so they sag a little, giving the truck a lower stance. That's not exactly the proper way to lower a truck, but it's something we can fix later. Looking underneath the truck, the cab floors and rocker panels actually look pretty solid, especially considering the age of this vehicle. There are a couple of small holes in the floor and rocker panel on the passenger side, but overall the structure looks surprisingly strong. Before we tear this truck apart and start the build, we're going to take it out on the road and see how it drives. Whenever you buy a project truck or a second-hand engine, there's a good chance the motor has a lot of miles on it. Often the seller will claim that it was driven by a little old lady who only took it to church on Sunday mornings and that it barely has any miles on it. But the real story is usually very different. In reality, it may have been driven hard for years. So how do you figure out the true condition of the engine? The health of the engine can definitely affect how much money you should invest in the vehicle. Today I'm going to show you a couple of quick tests you can do to check the health of an older engine. The first thing I do is start the engine and let it run for a bit while watching the exhaust. Ideally, you shouldn't see any smoke. But if you notice a light bluish smoke coming out of the tailpipe, it's usually a sign that the engine is burning oil. That could mean worn piston rings or worn valve seals. This engine actually looks fairly clean from the outside, but there's a more scientific way to check its condition. A compression tester is a tool that every mechanic should have. It can tell you a lot about the internal health of an engine. As the crankshaft rotates and the piston moves up and down, it pulls air into the cylinder and compresses it. For the engine to